It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at U-Like, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. U-Like. With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high-quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AmpPace.
AmpPace.
Welcome outside. That's right. We're outside today. We're actually in southeastern Pennsylvania, a stone's throw up the road from Villanova University. The Pete Sousa Show is on the road. We're at Mom's house. We're out in the, let's call it the gondola, right? We're outside. Beautiful greenery everywhere. You get a lot of this in the Northeast, especially around this time of year. I know we've been getting a ton of rain in Texas, and they've been getting a ton of rain here, making for a beautiful scenery outside Mom's house. And so here we are, little vacation to check up on Mom. Christy, her kids, and I came here on Friday. Big concert Saturday night for Lex, Christy's oldest daughter, soon to be my oldest daughter when we get married next June. She went to see Ghost on Saturday night. Now, a Ghost concert I didn't go. We just dropped her off. But it was basically like everybody there you could just put them in the black hole at a Raiders game. I mean, it'd be perfect. I mean, some of the costumes were downright terrifying. Not quite Darth Vader, but some other like stoic figures that were horrifying that I can't identify with, but I've seen in my dreams since dropping Lex off at this concert. So, and by the way, Ghost, congratulations, man. Going around the country selling out arenas. So got a little taste of Ghost on Saturday night. One thing I'll say too, I got a taste of Philadelphia. What a bad rap this city gets. Now I am from this city. I used to work downtown, working for the Sixers at the Wachovia Center, where we dropped Lex off for the concert. And it's not like I saw a ton of people I knew, but being around the service staff there, people helping us with directions, like just a great group of people. I'm telling you, we get such a bad rap. Looking to help one another. It's always like, yeah, you go over there, take a right, take a left, you'll find where you need to go. Just so a wonderful experience. Being one with my people here in Philadelphia. The Pete Sousa Show, of course, is brought to you by Slovacics. We can't do this without Slovacics. We can't do it without Crawford Austin Properties, and certainly not without Secor Family Ford and Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. Some of our main sponsors, and we got some other stuff brewing. Of course, in the fold, too, is First National Bank of Central Texas and Extraco Bank. But a beautiful day here in Philadelphia, where I get to share with you some thoughts and some of the things that impacted me over the course of the weekend and where we're headed now. Matt Mosley is going to take us into the NFL season. Mosley is going to join us. He's headed to Oxnard for Cowboys training camp on August 3rd. And Jerry Jones is getting set for his big press conference this afternoon. It's going to be 1 o'clock Central Time. That'll be live in Oxnard. So I want to talk to Mose about, his thoughts on where the Cowboys are headed this season, a lot of off-season storylines, and nobody knows the Cowboys better than Mosley, so nobody better to talk to about the Cowboys than him. We're going to start in Texas, though, with Scottie Scheffler, Texas native, University of Texas graduate, and a dominant golfer. Won the British Open yesterday by 4 strokes, 17 under. People are like, oh, we had Murph on here, on Murph Barton to talk to us and to handicap the British Open. Now, he said he loved John Rahm, but he also really liked Scheffler. And I said, hey, what do you think about Scheffler and his ability to produce on a links course? And Murph was like, that doesn't matter. Like I don't worry about that too much for him, because he's been that dominant. And we saw it again. I mean, for a guy like Scheffler, he's breaking through. And to break through, the reason I say break through is he broke through across the pond, winning the British Open in Ireland. And, he's just separating himself as one of the all-time greats. Now, what I want to talk about with Scottie Scheffler is what makes him so unique as a golfer. And it's his faith, right? And it's sort of like, I had a class at Richmond, which most of the football team took with me because it was deemed to be not the most difficult class in the world, but I learned a ton in it. It was called Church and State, right? And we talk about the separation of church and state in government, how important that is. And it is important, right? But like, you don't really separate church and sports. I mean, you can if you want to, but a lot of times it crosses over. And I think what we're seeing in Scottie Scheffler is the best example of what faith can do for an athlete. And some of that great example is not great for television. It is not great for folks that follow the PGA. When I was a little younger, and we can all remember when Tiger was exuding his dominance, right? If Tiger Woods, so Scheffler did what he does a lot of times when he's in a rhythm, right? He basically lapped the field on Saturday. So he goes into Sunday with a big lead, and he's so smooth, right? Just knocking down par after par after par with the lead. You could tell he and his caddy, who we're going to talk about in a minute, because that whole thing kind of, this whole thread makes a lot of sense. When you talk about the faith, his caddy's a big part of that. But it's not as exciting for people when someone's so measured and so even-keeled and someone with such great perspective is dominating. Again, with Tiger, if he was up 4 strokes, 5 strokes, 6 strokes, everybody would watch because it was Tiger Woods. And he was super compelling. He was super interesting. It was also highlights, you know, a lot of times with Tiger. Scottie Scheffler, you know, and I am not, you know, Steve Sands, or I don't pretend to be, right? Or Ian Baker Finch, or I'm not here to handicap golf for you. But from a distance, I can talk to you about sports and excitement and what's compelling and what drives ratings. And Tiger Woods drove ratings. You know, Scottie Scheffler's not going to hit the ball too much further than anyone else. He's not going to make these magical saves, right, where he gets himself into trouble and he has to become a magician, right? Because here he is, he's, you know, lying deep in the rough for 2. Like, that's not who we get with this guy. And the quote before the British Open, which I want to read now because I think that really illustrates where his head was at. Remember, this is before he won, okay? And he was asked this question about golf, and this is what he talked about. This was, I think, last Tuesday or Wednesday. He said, "This is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of deepest places in your heart. I love the challenge. I love being able to play this game for a living. It's one of the greatest joys of my life. But does it fill the deepest wants and desires of my heart? Absolutely not." He talked about, you know, his passion to win the Open. And he said, of course I want to win the British Open, you know, but I do know that winning the Open, I mean, it leads to a glorious 2 minutes, you know, and then it's on to next week. And that is the hamster wheel that all of us can get on in life, whatever we're trying to succeed, right? The climb is usually the best part and the rhythm of the climb and the process. But when you get there, you know, if you allow yourself to be so focused on this one thing, there can be an emptiness that comes with this great success. And I think with Scottie Scheffler being so grounded in his faith, it doesn't make for this exuberant, exciting story. But what it makes for is a glorious reflection of what a life, when lived with great faith, the right way, can look like. And this is all my opinion, right? But like being sober, AA, we talk a lot about a higher power and having God in your life. But it is not about running around banging a Bible, or in our case, the AA Big Book, off of people's heads, right? It's promotion by attraction. If you're living the right way, you're quiet about the message, but you're huge on actions. And that's what we see from Scottie Swingler. And when you talk about performance, when someone has great faith, right? A real great faith, not I just scored a touchdown and thanks to the Lord, and first and foremost, I want to put God in my life. But then you're off the field and you're not living that way, right? Like, I think if you're truly all in on this thing, you end up like Scottie Scheffler. Now, he is who he is, right? He's not a super bombastic, compelling figure, but also that is that lack of sizzle, right? I think that has a lot to do with his humility, which comes with practicing his faith. And I think part of his success is because of his faith. And I mean success on the golf course, because if you have perspective like Scottie Scheffler has, like that locked in hardcore perspective and that locked in understanding your belief system. I'm not saying this is everybody's belief system, and, you know, whatever works for you, whatever, that's none of my business. But we're specifically talking about Scottie Scheffler. When you are able to step back and think, okay, I've just got to I'm prepared. Now I'm telling everybody how to golf. I don't, but this is anything in life. I'm prepared. My part is done. I'm going to get up to this shot and I'm going to do everything I know how to do. But outside of that, you know, God is in control. The higher power is in control. The universe is in control. Whatever works for you, the understanding that I've handled my portion of this mission, and now God, my faith, whoever is going to do the rest. I believe that alleviates such pressure off of athletes. I saw it, my firsthand experience, the first time this was really, my eyes were open to this, was Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. Deeply religious guy. And he talked about the pressure just not being there in the Super Bowl because of his faith, right? And it allowed him to go out there and just wing it, right, in the best way possible. Now, Scottie Scheffler is way more talented right, and skilled at his particular sport. So when you combine those two things with a guy like Scheffler, it's absolutely lethal. The only issue is it's absolutely boring for a lot of people. And like, that's just how it is. And I think too, like more into this, like he's a simple guy. Scottie Swingler, that's our producer, Scottie Swingler. Scottie Scheffler, he met his wife in high school. I was reading his caddy he met at a Bible study. Like it's all around him. And I'm not saying everybody needs to run out there and get religion or find God. I'm just saying this is exactly what we're watching here. This is the best example of faith in sports that I've seen in a while, because it's not about banging us over the head with it. It's just a quiet confidence and a humility that's deafening, right? Because it's deafening because it's quiet, and we want so much more out of this guy. And by the way, although he may look like he's 40, he's only 29. So God willing, we'll see a lot more of this, right? All right, we saw some drama over the weekend. Of course we did, because we're talking about the WNBA. Now, I am a fan of both the WNBA and the drama that the league provides. And no shortage on drama here on Saturday or over the weekend. And I think that this was very necessary. The players took the court with the shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us," in pregame warmups, right? Now, someone like me who has followed labor negotiations for most of my life, really, if you're a fan, you can't help but to follow labor negotiations because they're a part of your sports. They're on the menu, dude. Like when I was a senior in high school, right? Like I can remember the Phillies had just been to the World Series. They lost to the Blue Jays. The next year, the season was canceled. You know, I can remember as a kid when I think it was the late 80s, 87, 88, the NFL season, labor stoppages, right? Or they couldn't agree on a collective bargaining agreement, and players were picketing. And then, you know, the Scabs ended up playing, and the Scabs played a pretty nice portion of the season, right? And there's some great films and documentaries out there. ESPN had a great 30 for 30 short about the Redskins team that sort of held the fort down for Joe Gibbs the year the Redskins won the Super Bowl in 87. And when the team came back, they kept it going and they won the Super Bowl. But I've always like just been hit over the head with these stoppages, and it sucks, right? And so, but there's a lot of times the reasons for the stoppages are because players are getting screwed, frankly. I mean, I know it's frustrating a lot of times because you look at how much money the players are making, and you think, okay, well, who wouldn't want to play sports all the time? Why shouldn't they be in the best mindset and be so happy? Like at the end of the day, like if you're not getting what you deserve, there is something for you to bargain for, something for you to go after. And we're seeing that now with the WNBA. I don't care if it's Caitlin Clark or if it's Kelsey Plum or if it's, you know, the crocodile from Happy Gilmore, as to why this league is starting to explode, right? I mean, primarily you could say Caitlin Clark, but there's other aspects to this as well. Bottom line is the league is moving forward. There's money to be made. And these women are serious about it. They had labor negotiations over the weekend up until Thursday that totally stalled out. One of the big problems they're having, they want a percentage, right? This is all according to the ESPN article I read, which, by the way, ESPN is a great place to get your WNBA news because it's not skewed either way, really. But as these TV contracts, right, and the revenue begins to evolve and swell around the WNBA, what the players want is they want a growing percentage of the revenue, not just like, okay, we're locked in at this percentage, right? Like, no, we want a percentage that will grow with the money that the league is making, which is very fair. But all the players had the shirts on pregame, and I thought that was like pretty cool. I'm not like, okay, whatever. But then Kelsey Plum, before the or after the game, made a comment that said, yeah, you know, the t-shirts were great, but nobody on Team Clark was really there when we made the decision to wear the shirts. And Sabrina Ionescu, who was next to her during this press availability, was kind of like, oh boy, like, I can't believe you just said that. And they kind of joked about it. And I can't tell like whether it's an inside joke, but it seems like by all reports, like Kelsey Plum and Caitlin Clark, like maybe aren't the best of friends. And like that was such a JV comment by Kelsey Plum either way, because even if it's a joke between her and Caitlin Clark, right, and somebody else, like even if it's an inside joke, like the league's in such an inflammatory place that like all you do is take steps backwards by making a wise ass comment like that. And if you really don't like Caitlin Clark, I can promise you the reason Caitlin Clark wasn't there for your meeting, your pregame meeting, is because the WNBA All-Star game was in Indianapolis, right? And she was probably, I mean, I can't even imagine what her calendar looked like, especially because she wasn't playing. They probably had her everywhere. And because Caitlin Clark is such a willing participant, right, and someone who wants to stand out and be an advocate for the league, she was probably willing to do whatever they needed her to do. Because, as I've said before, calling an ESPN game at Iowa with Caitlin Clark in the stands, we tried to get her to come over and join us for an interview. They said no, because Caitlin Clark didn't want to take away from what the men had accomplished and what was going on, right? It was a men's game, an Iowa game versus Kansas State. But like this was an opportunity for her to float around and promote the WNBA all weekend long. So of course she's going to do that. So I'm sorry, Kelsey Plum, if she missed a conference or a little gathering where you guys decided to wear the t-shirts. She didn't block it with her body. She was there in support on the court wearing a t-shirt. So I'm hoping that whole scenario is just like, a wise ass remark. I hope it's not real. If it's real, that's frustrating and it's annoying because I love Kelsey Plum. Love her game. I love a scorer. And she seems like a funny, cool girl. But yeah, we don't want to get too deep into analyzing all this stuff. But I found to be a little frustrating because I thought the context and everything about the labor negotiations and then pushing for more is totally in line with how this thing goes. I mean, again, that book, The Big Game, I just finished reading by Michael McCambridge. I finished listening to it. I didn't read it. That's a lie. But, every single league that goes through these periods where the players are grossly undervalued, you have these negotiations that get ugly. And a lot of times, a sticking point is our revenue going to move with the leagues, right? If the league continues to bring in more money, will our share continue to grow, right? We don't want to get locked in, right? We don't want to get boxed in, especially because they know the potential of the league. And I think Caitlin Clark's team lost the All-Star game, but I really didn't care about that. I didn't see it because Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. Unfortunately, I can be that kind of fan sometimes. I was also very busy. The Pete Sousa Show rolls on. We're coming back with Matt Mosley. By the way, the Cowboys training camp, they're there today. It starts tomorrow. Jerry Jones talks today. Matt Mosley, he talks next. The Pete Sousa Show presented by the Slovakics. We're at home. By the way, I wanted to wear this today. This is signed by Steve Smith, dude, right? This is for when I work with the Bobcats. Come on, man. When you go home and you find all this stuff? Yeah, Steve Smith. Come on, one more time. Yeah, this is when I work for the Bobcats and doing PR for them. I was supposed to drive Steve to Atlanta once so he could pick up a car during the All-Star break in 2004, but he didn't need my help, and thank God, because I'm a terrible driver. All right, we'll be back after this short break.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down to afterwards, was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
All right, Dallas Cowboys insider Matt Mosley is on the horn joining us. Yo, Mose, I'm back in Philadelphia again. I'm at my mom's house. I'm sitting outside. It's like a gondola experience. Do I sound okay?
Gondola. Yeah, you sound great. I'm just imagining what this is the time of year I used to spend outside of Allentown, up there at Lehigh, and I would show up on my NFC East tour about 45 minutes from you, about an hour, I guess, Lehigh University up on that mountain. Not really a mountain, kind of up on a hill, and I'd go see Andy Reid and all that. So it's a fun time of the year when training camps open and everybody has a lot of hope. And it's just except the Jets, I guess. But anyway, it's fun. But I'm glad you are back home, man. And I hope that maybe the Pope will stop by. Maybe you'll see the Pope. Maybe he'll come through the old neighborhood, you know?
Quick Pope update. As was confirmed by my mom last night, they still play Words with Friends. And I think it was like an early, like kind of like the Pope was maybe getting settled. You know what I'm saying? Like just finding his footing. And now he's back in his regular routine, right? I think he's found, okay, like this is what I still can do. And he's playing Words with Friends again with my mom.
You think he ever like samples talk radio or streaming shows? Like, wouldn't it be funny to see, like, does he just go to ESPN.com or somewhere, like, to check on the White Sox? Like, yeah. I just wonder like how much of a sports fan he actually is. he probably didn't have a lot of time for that, but it doesn't feel like the White Sox thing is fake. Seems like it's a real thing. And I bet I would wonder if he's like checking Villanova, like how they're doing in the portal. Wouldn't that be funny to just imagine him there, like following Rothstein, like, oh, good, we got somebody from LaSalle. This will be great.
He's looking at Rothstein do those videos when he's at like UConn practice and stuff, you know.
I think the Pope. I just wonder, and is the Pope? Does he have I'm sure he has like an official Twitter account. I would think.
Yeah.
I would think they have one, but does he have his own little personal thing that he surfs around, looking at a few sites or looking at a few different, accounts?
He has a Brian Colangelo burner account for sure, right? He's looking at stuff. Yeah. All right, so I got to ask you about your Cowboys, our Cowboys. 1 p.m., I think it's Central Time today. Jerry is going to speak to the media in Oxnard. You'll be in Oxnard August 3rd to the 6th when things really heat up. What do you expect? I mean, what should we expect from Jerry today, sitting alongside Brian Schottenheimer and I imagine Stephen Jones?
Well, this, Jerry generally takes these things over, as you know. So, but this will kind of be, all of these things have been Schottenheimer moments this off season. So this is a chance for him we've certainly, in fact, he's been on our podcast, which Rogue Media Network produces, the Doomsday Podcast. Mosley, that'd be me, and Ed Werder that are part of. And so Brian Schottenheimer has been a guest in the past, and we'll see if he's on at this time. But I think, there'll be a lot of questions. Obviously, everybody will be looking to see Micah Parsons was supposedly going to go up. Tomorrow's that first practice, even though he's kind of holding out. It's not a very good holdout because it may be kind of a hold in type situation. I don't think he's really doing a good job listening to his agent, which Jerry loves. Jerry loves this kind of deal where he's got a guy that can't stand being away because it means that Jerry has a little bit of leverage over him. But except for, I promise you, no matter how long he holds out, I mean, he's going to end up getting something insane like, 42, 43 million a year to play edge for the Cowboys. He's going to get more than TJ Watt. So it's so silly, like everybody waiting on this thing because we all know what it's going to be. But yeah, I think that'll come up. And I think everybody will be kind of trying to get at, what Schottenheimer is trying to get out of this camp and what he wants the message to be and how he wants to set the tone. This will be a big, even though Jerry will probably talk the most, this will be a big Schottenheimer day and kind of getting that era started. And, we'll see. I mean, he's proven to be pretty good and pretty engaging. So I think he'll be fine in this format. But I think you got Micah Parsons, and that's going to kind of be the early big story going on. Although there was this little side story about which one of my colleagues kind of got going about this Jaden Blue, this running back.
All right, this is where I was going next. All right, so your boy Glenn Stretch Smith says that Jaden Blue's work habits, from what he's hearing, are suspect and borderline lazy, in quotes. And what's the merit to that? What do you make of that? I got to get your take on this.
Yeah, well, it's I think Stretch, who you just referenced, who is a longtime friend of mine,
former Cowboy scout.
He's a former Cowboy scout and coach. He coached for Switzer, and he coached with Switzer at Oklahoma back in the day. He played at Texas. He learned a valuable lesson. I think every once in a while, and I've had it happen to me, you kind of start talking on a podcast and everything, and then all of a sudden when you see that like one quote come out, even heard Scottie Scheffler talking about it after the British Open, people not understanding what he meant because they tried to take a small bite of it. So I think Stretch was interested. Now there's safety in numbers. Now others have come out and said, well, yes, I had been hearing that same thing. You know how reporters do, Pete. Yeah. And Scottie, they're like, I knew this, but I just, I can confirm this. Like, okay, just let him have his little scoop or whatever. But I don't know what to exactly make of this. I have looked into it and kind of delved into this guy's past. I mean, I tend to think, let's just look what he did in college. And he was pretty remarkable for a lot, especially last season. So I don't really read too much into this, but boy, if this doesn't light a fire into him, I mean, that's not fun to show up as a rookie and you already have people questioning your work ethic.
Yeah.
And so, and if you look kind of closely, at this guy's background, Stretch is pretty interesting. Jaden Blue moved his senior year of high school, and from what I can understand, just did not play his senior year. Like I try not to like. I mean, this was a long time ago now, so I don't think he should be. It's like these people that say dumb stuff on Twitter when they were 16. Yeah. I don't make too much of that stuff, but I would say there's a little bit of a troubling history of a guy maybe not desperate to put in the time. Let's put it like that. I would not. I don't know. As far as that comment you said, because I think we have to be careful with wording and phraseology. Yeah. Especially in the climate we're in, like it's not probably a great, and I'm not even saying Stretch said it. It was more like maybe he was quoting somebody else.
Yeah.
But I think that this guy probably will come to camp very motivated to kind of show off and show everybody that he has been working. So again, if he comes out in the preseason and looks great and runs for a lot of yards, then this will be nothing. If he struggles or gets hurt early, then this will stick with him for a while. And that's the way this thing will unfold.
I hate to drill down on this, but one more question for you, because Stretch just about as well as anybody. Is it out of context for him to say something like this? Like, that's not really who he is, trying to drum up stuff like that.
No, you're right. I mean, he usually is just trying to kind of bring insight, but he does know people with the Cowboys organization. And so I would just say that it was not my podcast. It was that I do with Werder. It was on some kind of locked on thing that Cam does too. Locked on Cam, where you just kind of go around writing the craziest headlines possible. It used to drive me nuts. And Cam would come up with something, Baylor rips, Aranda rips somebody. It's like, Cam, just settle down a little bit here.
No, I always say, hey, Matt, real quick. Here's always, I do an impression. Like, ready? Like, is Baylor going to leave the Big 12? Is Dave Aranda taking a job at HEB? Locked on Baylor's next. Like, that's how they start. It's like,
okay. I mean, I get it. You got to get up there in the algorithm, and man, I need Scottie's help doing all that. I've decided soon I'll be making some announcements, and I'm just going to take over some algorithms. I don't even understand what that is, but I'll definitely be kind of jumping in the middle of some algorithms. And I may end up like Cam and I'll be trying to tell Scottie, let's come up with the wildest headline possible. But no, that's not really like Stretch. And that kind of made him uncomfortable that suddenly he was being quoted in all these stories out there like a source or whatever. I think he was just trying to kind of shed light on a deal. And Stretch is funny because like he played at the University of Texas, but he's kind of a harsh critic of everything that go. Like, you would think, oh, they're riding high, back-to-back playoffs, Sark, he must love Sark. And he doesn't really have that mentality. Stretch, a guy who played tight end at Texas. Can you imagine him, 1983 or whatever it was, like 6'7", lining up at tight end? I mean, that really would have been
an exciting time to be a college
intimidating
football player as well, too. That's probably really
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And he, by the way, he's tried to fight me before, and that is just scary. Like, at one time, in typical Mosley fashion, he used to help us in Dallas radio, and he was in there on a conversation, and I heard him say something a little off color, and I, being me, made a loud comment, like, hey, could we clean up our language around here or something? And I think he ended up chasing me down the hall. Like, I'm not talking about being funny, like ready to crush me. And back then I was in my early 30s and pretty quick, still had some pretty good quickness. And so I was able to, even though my nickname in college, by the way, was Slow-Mo, but it really wasn't about my speed. It was just the rate I did everything, talked, moved, everything. But yes, I was known as Slow-Mo in the Phi Gam house, even though we didn't have a house.
What's your favorite? I want to ask you one more pertinent, like, Cowboys, like, now training camp question. But what is your favorite memory of covering Cowboys training camps? I always look back on, and I don't think you were there for this. You might have still been in college, but the Dale Hansen, Barry Switzer interview where it got really hot. That one, I just remember reading about that when I was younger. Or like, the Everett McKeever one with, Michael Irvin. Now that was, you weren't there for that. Like, nobody was. That just came out afterwards. But, like, was there a moment for you that became unforgettable?
Well, I mean, I just was there for the first several years. I mean, I was there a lot over the years, but I just, the things that come back to me all involve Bill Parcells, because I started on the beat 2003, his first year, and he really got forced by Jerry to have T.O. there. And so that was a circus. And, I kind of, at that point, had formed a decent relationship with T.O. Like many of my relationships, that would eventually go south and have him threatening me from a podium after the game. I say threaten me. He was just like, I saw what you said. I heard what you said. It was after a win, the Cowboys win. And there was like, 100 and something reporters around he was on the podium, and he starts saying, I heard what you said, Matt Mosley. I heard all that stuff you said. And of course, we turned that into a promo. It was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me. But, and he had some weird Cleveland Cavaliers player with him, Damon somebody. I always forget who that was. He was really good friends. I don't think it was Raja Bell. I think it was Damon. I just can't think of a little guard. Damon Jones was hanging out with him. And one of them was looking at me out in the locker room, or right in the hall outside the locker room. And I think it was T.O. was saying, he was doing his shoulders up and he was saying, what you going to do, chump? What you going to do, chump, to me? And I'm literally looking at him like, yeah, you think I'm going to like fight T.O.? Like, I may be dumb, but I'm not insane. So anyway, but all that T.O. experience, and I just remember calling Larry Lacewell, who was Jerry's when he signed T.O., and he gave him that great line. He said, Jerry would sign Charlie Manson if he could catch passes or something like that. I was like, and he tried to get me not to use it. I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. That's too good. That's too good. We got to go with that one. But, so anything T.O. related, and then I'll give you one more. I forged a relationship in 2003. I think it was during camp. Larry Allen was not, who would go on to be in the Hall of Fame. And sadly, we lost Larry in recent years. But Larry was so out of condition that he couldn't practice early on. He either didn't make weight or couldn't pass the conditioning test. And so every day he was on the bike. And so I was with the Morning News, and we turned it into like a Tour de France type thing, Tour de France. And I would go over there, I'd give daily reports of like how he was doing on the bike and what Larry was up to. But Larry got kind of a kick out of it, and he didn't talk to any reporters. I was the only reporter he would ever talk to in those early years. And then it got ruined because he was holding out one year from workouts, and they sent me over to his house. And that did not go well. I had to go knock on Larry's door, and that was not great. But yeah, that was interesting because you had you had a Hall of Famer in Parcells, and you had a Hall of Famer in Larry Allen, and they did not see eye to eye. And Larry had a certain way of lifting weights. He wanted to do, and then Bill had in his mind, what's that weight, clean and jerk kind of thing? You know, that kind of
the Olympic weight lifting.
Yeah, he liked to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Larry liked other stuff, maybe just the bench and other things. I don't know. I mean, Larry was, you know, he could bench something like 600 pounds. I mean, it was incredible, but they didn't see eye to eye. So I had a front row seat to all that. So I guess those are some moments that come to mind.
All right. Realistic expectations for Dak Prescott coming into this season. I mean, I don't know what to expect. Do you?
Oh, I think he can put up huge numbers. I think that now the problem is, as you well know, he's going to be in a division with two very likely MVP candidates. You know, and it's just, that's hard. You know, of course, the Eagles and the Commanders quarterbacks. I think that, but I mean, I think he's going to put up enormous numbers, and I think they got Pickens in a great spot. He's in a contract year. I mean, he should take some of the pressure off CeeDee Lamb. I mean, they have the makings of a very, very exciting passing game, and even. They have somebody, and that'll be a story you read about in the coming days. They have a backup tight end who's challenging Schoonmaker, and they think he could end up being like a big-time threat. And that's this Brevin Ford, I think is his name, kind of a hyphenated deal.
Okay.
Man, this guy is going to be one of the fascinating stories of training camp. So all that to say, whatever number, what's the huge number now for NFL quarterbacks in a year? 4,000?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that the big one? I
remember when I was a kid, you know, if Joe Montana threw for 2,000 yards, that was a ton, you know?
Oh, if you want to have fun, go back and look at the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Like college quarterbacks that you thought were good, and they'll throw for, you know, 1,300 yards, 18 interceptions, and like 12 touchdowns. You know, and you thought these guys were like great. Like, man, my college quarterback was awesome. And you go back and look at these numbers. These numbers are so bad. The passing game was horrible.
But so you think Dak has a chance to put up huge numbers? Now, this is the last question for you. Defense, obviously, the Cowboys needed a lot of help. Also, they needed a lot of help up front. Seems like they got a little bit of help through free agency in the draft. But if there's one guy on either side of the ball, right, that is going to be extremely impactful and can help really turn the tide in these areas of need, you know, who would it be? Give me someone on offense, probably up front, that can help stem the tide and move this team forward, and then a defensive addition that you feel like can change things.
Well, I mean, some of these players on defense are going to be, you don't know when they're going to show up, but that Ravel, the cornerback, I mean, whenever he's ready to go, man, because I don't know, this Diggs thing, would scare me if I'm the Cowboys. Like, he's so important to them, and there's some weirdness going on there. I mean, he's mad at somebody, and they're holding back on some of the money for him because he didn't do the stuff in the off season. There is some real weirdness going on with him. So I would say, even though he's a third-round pick, that may be arguably the most important rookie on the team. Now, the new, they got all these Tylers, right? And the one that came from Alabama, that's huge. And I think they think he's going to be solid. Huh?
Yeah. The offensive guard.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that's going to be, extremely important. So there's a couple of names. I do think Tyler Smith needs to emerge. They've lost Zach. Zach Martin has retired. In recent years, they've now lost, Tyron Smith's gone. He'd already been gone last year, but you've lost the huge leaders of your offensive line just over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And this Tyler Smith kind of needs to be the guy. Everybody's ready to move to this rookie, but I think this former Tulsa Mauler type player, I think he's capable of it. I think he's been embracing it. I think he's talking even more to the media, even heading into this camp.
Yeah, he said just yesterday that the expectation is a Super Bowl, which I think is
Yeah, he's fine. I think he's good. I think you need to look at him. And then, this team, no team in the NFL loves putting together a nondescript group of running backs like the Cowboys. It's just like, who can we get that was good like 4 or 5 years ago? Like, that's who we want. We don't. Yeah, have they been good in the past year or two? No, sir. But were they good like 4 years ago? Yes. Let's get them, and that's what they do. So I just think they don't seem to care about that position, which is so weird when you've had so many greats over the years, and the fact that the running game across the NFL has become. I mean, look at what the Eagles did last year. I mean, my gosh, look at what Saquon did. It's crazy that you would keep going into the season with such a lackluster type thing. So maybe, who knows? Maybe Stretch lit a fire under Jaden Blue. On the offensive side. Well, yeah, I just hit the offensive side. So I think I've given you plenty.
You have given me plenty. And look, hey, when are we going to get an announcement out of you? What's going on? I mean,
I just want to milk this for all it's worth. I wanted to say my goodbyes to ESPN Central Texas, and I kind of started to do that my last day on the air there. And again, very appreciative of my time there. And the new owner operator is a very nice guy, former Baylor legend, and he was very good to me in terms of allowing me to kind of think through all this. But yes, this week we'll roll out the announcement. I won't be moving too far. And I'll still be talking a ton of Baylor, a ton of Cowboys, and it'll be exciting. And there's a chance I'll be even doing, maybe spend a little more time with you and Scottie, and that excites me. That
excites me. You know that.
Yeah. So this will be great. And but yes, and I may come on this program to make the announcement if you'll have me. Who knows? But we'll get the word out there.
You let me know. Matt Mosley, Cowboys insider, and someone who's near and dear to my heart. You're the man, Matt. I appreciate you coming on today too.
Thank you guys for having me, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. See you, bud. Oh, it's the great Matt Mosley, baby. It's something about talking to a guy like Matt Mosley who's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. This time of year is exciting. And yeah, almost as exciting as the announcement that's coming up here in a little while. Cannot wait to hear where Mose is headed next. All right, we're going to take a break. Thank you, Slovacics. Thank you, Mom, for letting me do this here. I mean, this has worked out great. It's about 85 degrees here in Philly. Nice breeze. My mom has an umbrella here. So, Yeah, and I got, of course, one more time, we'll show you. I found the Steve Smith jersey. Smitty, Charlotte Bobcats, baby. Chris Weiler, great job on the uniforms. I always love these colors. All right, we'll be back. Thanks, Lovacic. Quick break, and we'll wrap it up.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com. Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The number one thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
InMotion is more than just a name. It's a legacy of innovation. From supplying electric vehicle parts like motors and inverters since the 1960s to creating cutting-edge electric scooters, hoverboards, and unicycles, InMotion is shaping the future of mobility. Whether you're looking for industrial power solutions or accessible personal transport, InMotion has you covered. Explore our products and experience the future of movement. Visit store.inmotionworld.com today.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files, remove malware and viruses, and protect your device. It also optimizes your Mac's hard disk, fixes disk permission issues, and cleans memory, all to boost your Mac's performance to the max. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Finding a sleep sack that my baby likes has been a struggle.
The sleep sack from Joy is a major upgrade.
It's all natural eucalyptus, which is breathable and hypoallergenic, which is really great for your baby's sensitive skin.
And it's made with Climatech, which regulates your baby's temperature.
You can also get Joy's crib sheets, which are made of the same super soft material.
Joy gave my baby comfort
and gave me peace of mind.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Maud Lily is your go-to for stylish and affordable fashion that fits your life. Whether you're looking for the perfect swimsuit for a beach day, a chic dress for a night out, or cozy tops for everyday wear, Maud Lily has it all. Their extensive collection of swimwear, including bikinis, tankinis, and one-pieces, always keeps you on trend, while their dresses and tops come in flattering styles for every occasion. Visit maudlily.com today.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We are back. A little bit of breaking news before we get out of here. One of our favorite subjects, or somebody who just became a very prominent headline all throughout Big 12 football, especially during the offseason, more for bad reasons than good. Unfortunately, Jake Retzlaff, of course, who was caught up in a civil suit that has been dismissed. It was a sexual assault civil suit, but that suit in general led to the admission that he had broken the honor code at BYU, having sex and proven to be consensual. Nevertheless, he was going to face a 7-game suspension at BYU. He has officially transferred to what I'm seeing here. The reports are that he is going to transfer to Tulane. And, it's a bummer because Tulane, they were in a bowl game last year. They lost to Florida in the Gasparilla Bowl. But man, I mean, what a bummer of a situation, at least right now. That's my instant reaction. This was a guy who took BYU on a magical run last year. They win the Alamo Bowl against Colorado. They barely missed the Big 12 title game, which quite possibly could have led to a college football playoff berth. Retzlaff was set to come back this year and finish what he'd started. And now, that opportunity obviously went through his fingertips, and he's got to be accountable for that. There was there's an honor code there for a reason. And recently over the weekend, I think that the president of BYU or a member of the Board of Regents talked about, like, they're not going to change that. So, future athletes headed to BYU, I don't want to say be warned, because it's a wonderful, fruitful experience that you can have if you stay committed and understand what you're getting into going to play ball in Provo. AJ DeBonsa certainly seems excited about it. And I know a lot of folks like myself around the Big 12 are excited about him. And I'm really excited to see what BYU does this year. I was reading the Phil Steele. I've been reading this thing, like wearing the pages out, right? Getting ready for college football season. But they had Bear Bachmeier as, I think, the 29th best quarterback coming in this year. And I think that ranking could continue to improve, especially when we start to play ball. And I think Bear Bachmeier could be the guy for BYU, because I've seen both of those other quarterbacks at Western Carolina and at Utah State, or Western Michigan, excuse me. And neither blew the doors off me. I saw them both in person. But we'll see, right? We'll see. I think Bear Bachmeier is the guy, and I wish Jake Retzlaff the best playing it next year at Tulane. One other thing just to touch on. I hate to throw a wet blanket on this, but the and I'm the first one to mess around, but the stuff with the astronomer CEO and the affair and Scottie's headline, it is, look, it's something to chuckle at. There's no question. But okay, can I place a bet here on what happened? Okay. This relationship he is in, this is my theory, with his wife was completely fractured. There's so much money involved. The guy's reported to be a billionaire. It doesn't mean he's not a bonehead for taking this woman to a concert with him and canoodling with her, like, for the whole world to see, right? But I have to believe that there was a separation agreement between him and his wife, and maybe they hadn't told the kids yet, or maybe they weren't super public, but, like, newsflash, like, that happens all the time. And on her end, could have been the same exact deal. We don't know. Here's my fear. Okay. This is getting so out of control, right? That I would hate for one of them or somebody affiliated with them to do something like self-harm that would make this the most unfunny situation, just like that. So we need to be careful how we pile on social media, myself included. And I was thinking, and we'll end the show with this because this is a celebration. Now, who is the last person to completely, or people, dominate social media like this? Scottie, can you come up? I'll give you a guess. Just come on up. We get to see, I'd like to see you too. All right. And then we'll leave. There he is, Scottie Swingler. God, I love this guy. The moment I see you, I get like the warm and fuzzies. My heart just beats bigger.
Okay, but you're engaged, so no pulling a CEO here, Pete.
Okay, well, can you guess who stole the social media spotlight the last time someone has done it to this degree? It was about a year ago. I have the answer, and I don't want to hear anybody tell me that they know better than me.
To this degree, like you have data for this, or you're just in your
No,
opinion?
I have my data and I'm right. So go ahead. Was there one sweeping individual or story over the past calendar year and a little bit more maybe who owned social media?
So this was less than a year ago, so it was not this, but I was thinking about the 20 men versus or the 100 men versus a gorilla argument. That took
that's great. That's great. And by the way, you want to know how cool Philadelphia is? I was walking into this big, I think it was Philly Live. We were killing time after we dropped Chrissy's daughter Lex off at the Ghost concert. And it was this place where you had to be 21 or over, but they decided to let Christy's son, Caden, in. And this big bouncer, he's huge. He was a monster. And he just looked at Caden as he was letting him in. He goes, all right, who wins? 100 men or the one gorilla? Like right away, just like making small, it's just being like
still taking over.
Yeah. But so that's your guess. It's great, but it's wrong. Hawk Tua.
Yeah.
No question.
And that was even bigger. That was even bigger than this.
Yes. And Hawk Tua was great for America. And honestly, I think it was good for her. I think she's backed off the media spotlight. She's used.
Well, it was good for her until she launched a meme coin that lost a bunch of people millions of dollars. And now
I know. I think she's bounced back though, and I don't
she has
think
to run for her life.
She's not facing any legal ramifications anymore, I don't think. And she's done a ton with dog rescue. So Haley, I think it's Haley Welch. I love.
Yes.
I love that girl. She was, and she's just a down home girl. So everybody needs to leave her alone. But yeah, she was the best version of this. These guys are. It's dark. I don't care what anybody says. This is dark.
Yeah,
and we're having too much fun with it. I mean,
I'm with
it's
you.
fine. It's fine. I've been a part of it, but I'm good. Right? We're finished.
We're good.
You agree?
I agree.
All right, we're finished today.
But you got to admit the headline's pretty good.
The headline is unbelievable. It's not pretty good. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Scottie and I are going to start. Cowboys training camp starts tomorrow, so Scottie and I are going to take an in-depth look at the NFC East. Okay, because we talk to people like Matt Mosley. Okay, I talk to people like Anthony Bonagura, who is big time with the Philadelphia Eagles. And we try to stay connected, and we're going to help you with some of that information that you need as you get set to maybe pick your over-unders for this NFL season. Maybe you're getting started with your fantasy football team. We're going to set you up. We're going to start tomorrow with the NFC East. Also this week, going to talk with Darby Brown at CBS in Austin about Arch Manning and the hype around Arch. Maybe she can tell us why everybody around the Cowboys thinks that Jaden Blue is borderline lazy. By the way, that's not true, but we can talk to her about that. All right, that's it. Pete Sousa Show. Everybody have a great day. Slovacics, thank you very much.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.